Guma. I'm the Chief Warden of Bwindi Mgahinga Conservation Area. I've come with the colleagues here and I think this area. So we're able to organize stakeholder engagement where we're able to harmonize our roles in implementing this compensation scheme to address human-wildlife conflict. I want to talk more about in the area of livelihood, particularly the livelihood support to the Batwa. These homes is a very great contribution because it reduces pressure on these two protected areas. That's why we want to thank you. Like I said before, I just want to add more onto what we do as OA to support the livelihood of the Batwa. Honorable Minister, we showcase their culture as the Batwa, but also it is also to showcase their past life in the forest, which I think is of interest to many of our tourists. And what is important is that we share proceeds from this engagement that helps to support the livelihood of the Batwa. We also have a similar arrangement for Bwindi, Honorable Minister. With the partners, I was asked to speak on behalf of partners to respecting the rights of the Batwa as a minority group in this landscape and providing conservation benefits to them like any other community group with different initiatives. But we are doing this in partnership with the Bmct and the other stakeholders. Once again, I want to thank Bmct for inviting us to be part of this function. I want to thank everybody for listening to me. I said the transformation. If you look at those structures where those friends of ours, the Batwa, were living, and you see the houses they have put up, you see how they were dressed. That shows that really Bmct is on ground and it is doing some very, very, very commendable work. We, as Kisoro District local government, we have been having very many complaints from the Batwa, especially on the issue of settlement. But where we cannot reach, Bmct is always there. And when we are with them, we are always strong as a district. Because where we cannot reach, they assist us to reach there. Honorable Minister, there is a colonialist by the name of Winston Churchill. Their attention come to this road, Kisoro Rubuguri, where we are now. After that, this road is worked on. There is another part. If you can work on Rubuguri to Nyanamo, then you join the other road, the Tamaka to Kabari. I'm telling you, Kisoro will be the real Switzerland, and it will be the real part of Africa. I thank you so much, Minister. I don't want to talk a lot, but in a very special way, I would like to thank you for sparing your time. Please, keep on coming once in a while, so that we share a lot as to how we can even transform the lives of our people and put them to another level. When you're around, we also feel very happy and very strong. I thank you so much and wish you good time that you're having. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Of the park, the fire was burned. The park was burned, and therefore Bwindi Mgahinga Conservation Trust wanted a researcher to be able to come and understand the dynamics of regeneration and gap use by large mammals. And my research proposal won. So that was my master's research and it was funded by the trust. So I'm a beneficiary. And I thank the trust for the great achievements that they have enumerated here and making some of us benefit. And I'm glad that I'm serving the trust now as the chairperson. I thought that was important. Long-term, reliable support for research and conservation of biological diversity and sustainable use of natural resources in the Mgahinga Gorilla National Park and Bwindi Impenetrable National Park. I am very happy that this morning and today in particular, we are celebrating the Batwa by giving them a model village, especially in this month of August, where we celebrate the indigenous peoples. 9th of August is the International Indigenous Day, and the Batwa are part of the indigenous peoples of the world, and I am glad that Bwindi Mgahinga Conservation Trust, working with partners, and in celebration of this day, we are giving the Batwa a model village, which is great. Let's give a hand clap to the trust. Natural-based projects or enterprises that are aimed at improving the livelihoods of the local communities in order to appreciate the role of conserving the national parks so that they can be able to support the initiatives of conservation. And this has worked, given the demonstration Honorable Minister have witnessed, how they are singing praises for the park and how they are pledging to actually conserve. This is great, and definitely as UA, we are going to continue, and we pledge to continue working with the trusts and perhaps give more focus to the trust to see how more can we support the trust, especially at this time when you are making an appeal to the government. That is something I have noted, and I was actually talking to the minister, and we shall see what we can do. That we have supported in terms of resettlement, housing, education. In summary, he gave the details, and our major funding sources, Honorable Minister, have been the endowment fund, but also we've had the bilateral and multilateral donors through development agencies, foundations and private sector through corporate social responsibility, and others including partnership programs. And Honorable Minister, it is also important for you to know that for the last 31 years, Bwindi Mgahinga Conservation Trust has been promoting conservation work, and it is the first environment conservation fund in Africa, established by the Global Environment Facility with support from the Uganda government after the 1992 Rio de Janeiro Earth Summit. So let's thank the government of Uganda. Capital of US $4.2 million to be managed in perpetuity for sustainable conservation financing of Bwindi and Mgahinga Conservation Area. And I also want to inform you, sir, that this trust has actually worked as a model and a learning environment for other trust funds in Cameroon, Madagascar, Tanzania, and Malawi. And they have actually come here to benchmark to see what we are doing in order for them to actually learn and replicate this back in their homes. The trust administrator has talked about our funding and how we have been doing. I know that my minister is very interested in figures. The total trust asset invested in overseas stocks stood at 22.1 billion shillings, and the earnings from that trust fund for that year were 700 million. In 2021, we did better, where we registered good performance of 2.9 billion, which was owed to the good performance and economic conditions in the USA. But of course, this performance was hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic. That's why he's saying, we are saying as the trust, that we need support from the government. And as the one heading the Uganda Life Authority, we shall go and think through this so that we can be able to see what we can do. I would like to request the board members who are here to stand up for recognition.
Of maintaining whatever we are conserving. And I take the opportunity of reminding them of this wonderful book, the Manifesto of NRM, Securing the Future. I normally come to most of these activities when I notice that there's somebody, contributing to this. So when we say securing the future, when you see our oil, part of the exploitation, so that we can get money, they are talking of recapitalize the endowment fund and joint resource mobilization. All this means is this. Once we put this one, you see Uganda airline flying who don't appreciate where we are coming from, where we are.
Of course, there was a bit of worry. Like you clearly said, most of them drop out. somewhere in the middle to go get married. But I think we will just continue talking to the Batwa and giving them such incentives so that they can maybe have a better life and therefore benefit from the other government projects that they ought to benefit from. So we've seen all that, and I want to thank you. The stove, of course, as one of the foundations for the trust, well, there was a reduction in the use of firewood, and this is something you should do as a trust. It's good, you're supporting a lot of research, and I think we discussed it because breakfast, they would use around 3 trucks of firewood a term. Now, because of the intervention with the new stoves, they are using 1 truck, but we don't want them to use any truck. That is our prayer. And there are some people using, we had said, the volcanic stones, and so please just continue funding some research because it's still unsustainable. You know, we're just talking about the school. What of the homesteads? So I know there is a lot to do, and your request for support, something we're discussing with the ED. Indeed, you ought to be supported more. But nevertheless, I still want to thank the government of Uganda, Wildlife and Antiquities. So it is a government fund, but of course, with the mainly assets within the forests that we can protect and maybe add onto the tourism packages for the people to visit. And maybe then we can have a discussion, because now you see, it is indeed true that these people derive their livelihood while staying in these very protected areas. But of course, the Muzungu, I think in the 1930s, when they were gazetting these protected areas, of course it would be much more beneficial for the whole world to conserve these parks and then have the Batwa out. But it's important that we look at the Batwa benefit more than what we are giving them, because we are indebted to them. And this is a discussion that His Excellency the President has been having. There has been a special paper in Cabinet presented because of these minority groups, the Batwa. There are some tribes around Mount Elgon, the Benet and the Ik, and the just special focus. And it has been an area where the President has had a lot of interest. So my prayer is maybe we can be helping. If we can gazette those, and ED, I wish we can do this faster. If we can gazette those areas and we separate the revenue collected from those heritage sites from the ones that people would get when they track the gorillas, would have helped the government, especially because you know the tourists come. Let's see how we structure this. So I don't have much to thank you. At least I've been here. I would not have understood what you do as a trust if I had not come here myself. And I'll deliver the report. I have not come here on my own. I have been delegated by the Minister, the Colonel Retired Honorable Tom Butime, who hasn't been able to be here with us, but I'll tell him of the good work and how we need to support you more. So thank you so much. The conservation team, I will really say this, going forward, the government of Uganda looks at how, intends going forward, focusing on how conservation is going to be beneficial to the communities. It's beyond the wild animals now. It is how do the communities around these protected areas benefit from the conservation we are doing for them. And I think the Bwindi Mgahinga Conservation Trust is a clear testimony of what we are saying, and we'll continue supporting you. Thank you so much. I am sorry, when I have a program in the field, it is only for that program. But it's unfortunate that I have a colleague is relying on me for a function later today evening, and I have to leave. Thank you so much, and I wish you the best. And please continue to message is clear. Live a better, healthier life. Educate the kids. Reduce on the bad manners, so that we can have their story told for the next 5,000 years. Thank you so much.